Welcome back, everybody, to another Digital Gate Studios production. Basil, what do you got for us today?
Another green deck.
No,
I'm just kidding.
Say it ain't so.
Jesse, I need you to answer this question.
Okay.
And I know you know the answer.
Sure.
Is there a person on the planet that likes floodgates more than me?
No.
There
absolutely
isn't.
not.
That's correct. And so sometime after the O2 movie promos came out, this deck was created by somebody. And I thought to myself, why did I not think of that?
Okay.
And I put it together instantly, and I did not like it. And there was a couple of shortcomings with the deck, specifically around cards in the hand and sort of winning games that did get past that early game.
Sure.
And then BT15 came around and gave us the answer. Muchomon.
What is that the answer to?
So what we have here
Other
is,
than being a great card in pre-release.
what we have here is the Floodgate Rookie Rush
okay.
deck. It's a red-based Floodgate Rookie Rush deck. And so the first thing that I did when I saw this deck was considering taking it to the national tournament.
Interesting.
Because, as we all know, the top deck in the format was Anubismon, which loses to Effect Floodgates, obviously. It loses to Memory Floodgates because you gain so much memory from your inheritables.
Sure.
It loses to Play Cost Reduction Floodgates because Anubis skill plays stuff by an effect for a reduced cost.
Yep.
And it also lost to Reduced Digivolve Floodgates because it played 4 trainings.
Ooh.
And so I thought, that can't be bad.
Yeah.
And so it was something I was strongly considering taking to the national tournament because a lot of my success is with those niche counterpick decks. But it didn't really come into fruition until I think this set. So I'll take you through sort of the logic.
Sure.
The first big addition it got outside of obviously the movie promos was the BT14 Koromon.
Yeah.
Generically, one of the best eggs they've printed in recent memory that is not on the banned and restricted list.
Cards removed from security,
take
draw
a card
one.
out of security, draw one.
Yep.
The only thing to note of this card, for those of you who don't know, if you hit a removal option with this card and it kills the thing on top of it, you don't get the draw.
Right.
Because the option triggers before that.
But if it dies in battle, you do.
But if it dies in battle, you do. And because this is a Rookie Rush deck with the aforementioned movie promos, we are playing 5 eggs. And the fifth one, you can go back and forth a lot on it. A lot of people will be playing the Draw Gigimon for the Gyomon that we are playing. But I like Muchomon so much, I'm rolling with the BT15 Yokomon.
Sure.
Which is on deletion, grab back in this deck, grab back Muchomon. Like I said, hand size is somewhat of a trouble in this deck.
Yeah. And it always has been for Rookie Rush.
And it always has been for Rookie Rush. And that Muchomon is the cure that we desperately needed. So Yokomon is going to only basically get us back that Muchomon. So let's get to the star of the show, shall we? There he is, the Mooch. Like you said, this was, if not the best, one of the best cards in pre-release.
Absolutely. Yeah.
When attacking, or when a red Digimon attacks a player, trigger draw one.
Yep.
So that counts itself or another red Digimon of any kind. Obviously, hand size similar to this deck is an issue in pre-release. But this card is deceptively strong. I mean, the amount of cards that you draw, especially if it can stick on the board for 1 or 2 turns after you play it, it's going to pay its weight back and then some. So the original list, this was its biggest draw engine.
Yeah.
Was the promo Gyomon.
Sure.
When attacking, trigger draw one.
Yep.
And that is quite good, obviously, still. But with that Muchomon, it's going to accelerate that even further.
Yeah.
So if your opening is Gyomon in the back, Muchomon, or vice versa, you're going to swing and draw 3 cards, which is pretty good.
It's pretty good.
It's going to fill your hand up with what you need. So, as I said, Jesse, nobody loves floodgates more than me.
Yep.
And Red now is joining the ranks of who else has this? just black, I think, of colors that have 3 floodgates. So that's Solarmon, Gaussmon,
Oh, you're going all in.
and Gotsumon.
Yep.
So we have play cost, effect, and digivolve cost.
Yep.
Clearly, digivolve cost is the most situational.
Yeah.
A little bit less situational than it used to be.
It's really there just for the training.
Hunters is still around. Green does this a lot.
Yeah.
And every deck plays trainings.
Yep.
But outside of that, the Gaussmon is not really going to be your most necessary floodgate, which is interesting because Gaussmon is the only floodgate that has a secondary ability. For on your turn, your other Gaussmon gain 3k.
Yeah.
So randomly, if you're up into 2 Gaussmon, they're both swinging at 5k.
Yeah.
Which is pretty nice. But mostly we're looking at red as the base because it has access to the 2 best draw rookies in the game.
Sure.
As well as one of the best draw eggs in the game. And then the necessary floodgates for play cost reduction and effect are still very relevant. Obviously, if you've watched any content of us, you know that every deck these days plays a Digimon by an effect.
Yeah.
And so having this floodgate is absolutely tremendous. And Solarmon's really strong, not necessarily as much for the like cross matchups with the Blue Flare and Crossheart and stuff like that. Is obviously a lot less prevalent these days. But in this deck, there are going to be situations where your board is 6 to 7 rookies.
Yeah.
And Death X is still a card.
Yeah.
So this is very much your anti-Death X technology, as well as there are some decks that are still abiding by the Digicross strategy. And so Solarmon does come up from that point.
And I think one thing to note too, and I kind of talked about it in my gotcha video because I do play 4 of the Pomumons in there, is that having, most decks will have 1 or 2 floodgates, and your opponent will usually overcommit to get rid of them sometimes just because, I got rid of 1, I got rid of 2. There's no way they have 3 or 4. But if you have a play set of all of them,
yes,
they have a lot to deal with.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Because we are not stopping there. So obviously this is as far as red floodgates go.
Right.
But this deck is interesting because it dips into other colors for floodgates, and so that's going to fill out the rest of our rookie lineup.
Oh.
The first is 4 more effect floodgates. So
going hard on
this
these.
deck does not play any Digimon by effects.
Sure.
It plays them for cost. And so playing an effect floodgate, like you said in your gotcha list, it only hurts your opponent.
Yeah.
Because the effect floodgates and the play cost floodgates
Or for
specify
everybody, yeah.
all players. So the interesting thing about that is we can dip into other colors and just play them. And if they're a deck like Leviamon, like Numemon, like Bloomlord, that can out floodgates, but it takes their entire turn to do it.
Yeah.
Next turn, swing, end turn with another effect floodgate.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's sort of like how many every deck that gets answered by a floodgate has answers for those floodgates.
Yeah.
But do they have enough?
But only a limited amount. Yeah.
Right. And so
They're like,
at that
I play
point,
2 fireballs.
yeah,
It's like,
I play their
cool.
fireball. The purple decks will play the Porcupamon.
Yeah.
They'll play like.
But you can't play 8.
Whatever the case, but you can't.
Yeah.
At some point, you have to play your deck.
Yeah.
And so if they get to a point where they simply can't out another Pomumon that's unsuspended, they just have to scoop it up at that point.
Tough. So I guess the hardest part about this deck is probably learning when you want to commit to the swing and when not to.
Yes, that is the skill expression in this deck heavily revolves around knowing when to go, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. So noticeably absent from the red color is memory floodgates.
Sure.
And so ordinarily we would just throw in a play set from another color. But for a very specific reason, we're dipping into a lot of colors.
Interesting.
So that's 2 Madoki and 1 of the rest.
Oh,
so that's
interesting.
1 Chew, 1 Terrier, 1 Gazi.
Okay.
So there is a specific reason for this in the option slot coming up. But basically, the idea is we want to cover a wide array of colors. Obviously, the Chumon is specifically worse than the other ones because it's 1K.
Yeah.
Which does come up in very niche instances with like DP minus or whatever, or lowest DP and stuff like that.
Dual yellow tamer just kills it instantly.
Yeah. But it is important to have multiple colors because we're playing a Heaven's Judgment. So that's going to count your colors. And if we had
got them all.
And we've got them all here. And so dipping into multiple colors is advantageous for us. And if you did not want to do this, I understand. The one you do not want to cut out is the Terriermon, because green is going to be important as a color requirement for the Heaven's Judgment.
Right.
So that's it for the floodgates. So a full play set of all the red ones, 4 more extra effect floodgates, and 5 memory blockers.
Gotcha.
This is obviously malleable. I just extremely heavily value effect floodgates. If you wanted to go down on either the Pillow or the Pomu and go up on any of these memory floodgates, that wouldn't be so bad.
Sure.
There's a few more rookies in the deck, and the first one is not a floodgate. And this is a card that I really was surprised by in the BT12 format. For those of you who know, who watch the sort of less popular videos on this channel, Jeff built a deck around BT12 Jagamon, which is on deletion, play a Podamon and a Yakimon.
It was the potato deck.
It was the potato deck. And I was building something similar to that, but it never really took off the ground because of the aforementioned hand size issue. But it was a rookie that I played in that deck that overperformed every game, and that is the Auroramon.
2 cost.
So
5K.
this is a BT3 card, 2 to play, 2 to Evo, 5K. So that's getting over a lot of champions insecurity.
Yep.
As well as it fulfills that green requirement that we need a little bit heavier than other colors. So there's a lot of these style of rookies in other colors. Rookies that cost 2 to play, 2 to Evo, and 5K. But the green is the one that we're rolling with. And of course, we've got 4 Ukomons.
There it is.
I don't know if you have the ability to do this, but if you go back to the 2 Tamers talk where these cards first got revealed, we were like, there's going to be something with these cards.
Yeah, they're on to something.
We knew that these cards were going to be disastrous for the game. We just didn't know how strong they actually were going to be.
Didn't know how universal they were going to be.
Yeah, and how universal. But Ukomon obviously lends itself to a rookie rush strategy.
Yeah.
And this is one that is incredibly disruptive. I mean, your opponent will be very overwhelmed with floodgates that specifically counter their deck very quickly.
Yeah.
And Uko's partner in crime,
Gotta play
Louis
Louis
Iwata. We need to get through our breeding phases as fast as possible to get all those floodgates out. And the more eggs we have, the more free rookies we have.
Sure.
As well as the more Koromons we have, the more draw we have. So that's it for the Digimon.
Sure.
No 4s, no 5s, no 6s, and no other Digimon, I promise. So we'll move into some more tamers. The first is the Hokuto.
Interesting. Okay.
So this card, or this deck is, as I said previously, a very awkward deck to play against. When your opponent's board is double effect floodgate, play cost floodgate, memory floodgate, Gaussmon, it's sort of like, okay, now what?
Yeah.
You know,
what gimmick can I pull out of my deck?
I guess I'll start hard playing Digimon.
Yeah.
And Hokuto is going to help us in that. As well as it's just sort of a tax card. And when it comes down to it, besides being a rookie rush deck, this is basically a tax deck. Like if you want to do what you have to do, pay the tax of deleting my floodgate. And Hokuto sort of adds to that. If you are a deck that plays a bunch of tamers, you know, I'm going to gain that memory. If you want to play a Digimon, you're either going to give me a card in the hand or you're going to lose a memory, whatever the case may be. So Hokuto just sort of adds to that sort of obnoxious nature of this deck.
And it lends itself to the deck really well because it's only a 2 cost.
Because it's only a 2
So you'll be able
cost.
to do still be able to do multiple things per turn.
A card that is very specifically tailored to what you're going to be playing against and the sort of scene that you're around is the Digimon Emperor. This is a card that I go back and forth on a lot. it's really hard to justify in some formats.
Yeah.
Like if you were playing against War Greymon and stuff like that, you'd never play this card.
Yeah.
Because they're never really going to promote an Agumon. But the reason that it's good is the on deletion draw is quite nice, as well as if your opponent is playing something similar with Ukumon and Louis, say something like Numemon, which is the top dog this format, the Digimon Emperor's condition is not once per turn.
Gotcha.
So if they're trying to get that Ukumon Louis, promote Ukumon Louis again kind of thing, it's going to stop that dead in its tracks. But this could be another Hokuto or another kill option, which we'll get to in a second. So as if playing a playset of Gotsumons and then 2 Pillamons and 2 Pomumons wasn't enough, this deck is also playing 3 Crimson Blaze.
Yep.
It's another extremely strong card in this format and in every format. This is our best answer to the Numemon strategy. I think Bloom Lord is really strong this format.
D Brigade, you still see those?
D Brigade is still strong. Lugarmon is quite strong.
Yeah.
This card is incredible, and it's going to be incredible for the rest of time.
Yep.
We've hinted at it a lot, and so we'll finally throw it down. The Heaven's Judgment.
It's 3.
Just 3. If you wanted to go down on the Digimon Emperor, you could throw another Heaven's Judgment in here. But you really don't want to clog your hand up with too much expensive stuff.
Yeah, you want all Digimon.
You do. But this card very casually is a minus 30K on your opponent's board, which
that you get to split up too.
Yeah, you can. So if for those of you who don't know, Heaven's Judgment says minus 6K to 1 Digimon. Then for every color you have on your Digimon, add another 6. So it's very easy to get minus 12, 13, 12, 18, 24, 36, 42, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
Obviously, that doesn't happen all the time.
When it does, though.
But when it does, I mean, wipe 2 War Greymons off the board.
Yeah.
It's quite strong. The nature of Rookie Rush decks is get ahead early, fall behind mid and late.
Mm-hmm.
And Crimson Blaze and Heaven's Judgment are sort of your answer to that.
Yeah.
And DP removal is some of the strongest removal in the game. Very few counters to it.
Sure.
There's one more option left in the deck, and that is the Emergency Program Shutdown. And a lot of you are scratching your head right now and thinking, why are we playing this?
This old EX1 card.
This old EX1 card. Well, the reason is like I said, there will be many, many times where we don't want to push for lethal this turn, but we will have a lot of Digimon. 5, 6, sometimes even 7 or 8 rookies on the board. And if your opponent has Crimson Blaze or Schwartz Lursats or anything wide board removal that turn, you lose.
Yeah. Or even a Heaven's Judgment of their own.
So playing the Emergency Program Shutdown on that turn basically seals the game for you, because if your board is one of every floodgate and then you play this to pass, they are not going to clear your board.
Yeah.
And so that is another tech option if you're seeing a lot of those options running around, as well as it's just a good card early game.
Yeah.
If you pass them to 1 and they don't want to promote, a lot of times they'll boost or training to pass it back. An Emergency Program Shutdown says, just pass me the turn back in that instance. So it's a niche pick, but it is quite strong. Last card in the deck. I said there was no Digimon in the deck.
I was going to say, there's one more.
And there's no more options left in the deck, but this is kind of both.
Yeah.
Death Exmon.
To break glass in case of emergency.
This is, like I said, this deck gets ahead in the early game and falls behind in the mid and late. Death X is a strong answer there.
Yeah.
It just is. Again, for those of you who do not have Death Exmon, it's coming in the LM2 packs.
Yeah.
So that's going to be sometime in BT16. Who knows? Bandai sort of controls the wheels there.
We'll see in May.
If you do not have a Death Exmon, a 4th Heaven's Judgment, a 4th Crimson Blaze,
just fine.
A 2nd Emergency Program Shutdown, another Hokuto, or another rookie.
Yeah.
It's all fine.
Yep.
That being said, for those of you who are watching who don't have a Death X and want to compete at the highest level, go get yourself a Death X.
Just get one.
Just go get one, and you can pass it between your decks.
That's what I do.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking, damn, these guys just have 15 copies of Death X?
No.
No, we just have
We
a
have
few.
one playset, and
Yeah.
and then they're
I
all
might
split
get an alt art one of these days.
one of these days.
So that's the list. Do not underestimate this deck. It will overwhelm you very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And a lot of the problems that Rookie Rush strategies had in the past are solved by some of this new bottom end.
Yeah. All right. You know, one thing that I remember a lot of decks used was Fireball, but it seems like you don't need that now.
No,
you got the
we got
Mutromon.
Fireball on our Digimon.
Yeah. All right, Basil. Well, thank you so much for bringing that. I am terrified for you to bring that to locals, but I can't wait. So thanks for joining us. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, have a good rest of your day.